You don't talk to me like that, you hear?
Don't raise your voice at my son. You're not his daddy.
I'm good enough to help raise him, just not good enough to correct him. You don't want a partner, you want help without authority.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. We hope, we pray that everybody is well and will be better. This is your brother and friend, Yeshaya Yisrael. We want to get into a subject that is not common on this platform, and that is the matter of and how to say deal with children, if we will. Now, again, this is not to be self-centered. I have not personally been, quote, the best nor the worst parent. And within a little over a year, not to get too personal, I've gotten a whole lot closer with my little one. Now, looking at that in that particular case, what we're going to do, brothers and sisters, is play that video again and analyze it. And I'm open to constructive criticism. My number, if you care to reach me, is 908-587-4841. So let's look at this again, brothers and sisters. Thank you.
You don't talk to me like that, you hear?
Don't raise your voice at my son. You're not his daddy.
I'm good enough to help raise him, just not good enough to correct him. You don't want a partner, you want help without authority.
Now, looking at that, right? It appears that the man and that woman is inside of a relationship. But it appears, as she said, you're not his daddy, you're not his father. So now you have a situation where that man has gone into what you call a ready-made family, a family that already had a standard on certain things even before meeting, say, that man. And as you can tell from the title, I am saying no need to yell at children. It does not help. Now, when I posted my comment, brothers and sisters, online, people were saying all kinds of weird things. Like one person asked, well, do you happen to have any children? I have one. Actually, the person asked, do I have any kids? And I wanted to be specific. I don't have kids. I have a child. Not trying to play semantics or whatever like that. Now, I've been guilty of what I'm saying is not even needed in regards with raising children, such as, quote, yelling at the child. My stance, brothers and sisters, is if you look inside of the description, it doesn't help. What happens when you yell? You are not even sounding carnal, excited. Your mind is rushing. Your blood is rushing. And when that happens, you can deal with getting high blood pressure. When you are yelling, it may cause your horse, pardon me, it may cause your voice to become hoarse. That's to say, heaven forbid, that you can lose your voice. You understand? One of the things, I'm not a doctor. Shalom, my brother, Bergen, Paris. One of the things, I'm not a doctor, that I know deals with matters of one losing their voice is lemons and tea. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you got info, please put it inside of the comments. But brothers and sisters, let's play this again. It's not a very long one. Thank you again. And let's discuss this matter here.
You don't talk to me like that, you hear?
Don't raise your voice at my son.
Now, she is saying, don't raise your voice at my son. She has, in that particular case, already disqualified him as if he didn't know about he being the father of the child. Now, what can we gather from that? She doesn't respect his style or his position on how he is, in his way, help raising the child with her. So, again, not being funny, what then can we gather and say in that particular case? Should he raise his voice to the child? Now, when I posted my comment saying that no parent should yell at their children, or no child should be yelled at. People were speaking about disciplining the children, which, as far as discipline goes, if you're talking about being put on punishment, not allowed to go outside and play, can't have company, cannot be other people's company, go straight to school, straight home. There is no playing around in that particular case. There's no radio, there's no TV, there's no entertainment in that particular case. That's the general rules in many people's houses regarding a child being put on punishment, being put in a corner and being made to stand for whatever length of time. I remember being put in a corner as a child, having your privileges taken away, such as you will not this weekend go out to the party, or you will not this weekend be allowed to play with your toys, or you will not be allowed to have the quote extracurricular activities outside of your chores at home, schoolwork, no dessert. You just get dinner. You might be given the other siblings chores, things such as that. Or to the extreme of certain cases of giving a child a spanking. That is the general premise of discipline once it comes down to parenting in many, many cases. But as we pointed out, people feel that that man should have the right to, quote, yell at a child. Now, one of the things I portrayed inside of my comments when I was talking about this online is this. Well, he was disrespected. When you are disrespected at your job, you know your place still. You do not raise your voice to the supervisor. When you are pulled over by the police, it might be disrespected. You know that you do not raise your voice to the police. If there is a person of a figure of authority, even being a grown man or woman, you know, quote, your place. But some people feel that, yeah, you got to sit there and yell in order to get you to sit there and get your point across. But brothers and sisters, when you really, no disrespect intended, get right down into it, we don't have to go that route. If you understand where a brother is coming from. In dealing with children, and again, I have not been the best parent, but I remember as a child being put, quote, on punishment. I remember having my privileges taken away. I remember, oh, we're going out and to play basketball. You're not, because you're on punishment. And if I'm on punishment in my parents' house, I was on punishment in the grandparents' house, in the aunt's house, in the uncle's house, etc. You understand? So what again, thank you, my brother Bergen Paris, what again can we say regarding that in that particular case? Is it a wise thing, brothers and sisters, to yell at the child? What is the point in disciplining the child in that manner, which is not truly discipline? All you're doing is running up your blood pressure. And when people was in the comments was saying things to the effect of, well, some children understand it that way. I'm asking you in wisdom, how is it wise for you to endanger your own health to even get a point across to a child? Is there a wiser way to go about a matter? It does not hurt your health to take your children's toys because they're disrespectful. It does not hurt your health to sit there and have your child put on punishment. But when you're doing this, and we want to show this again, let's expound on what we're talking about.
You don't talk to me like that. You hear?
Don't raise your voice at my son. You're not his daddy.
I'm good enough to help raise him, just not good enough to correct him. You don't want to.
Now, that's not correcting the child. You don't raise your voice out to me. That child is not taking heed to that. This is why even when you look online, they say you shouldn't type in caps all the time, because they say in that particular case, you're like shouting or yelling. Now, in many other cases regarding, not to be racial, the black man, when he is shown like that, he's the angry black guy. You know, he needs anger management, those kind of things. But since the matter of black male versus black female online has been portrayed and exemplified and promoted, things have changed. Let me show what I'm talking about and expound what I just said, fam.
You don't talk to me like that. You hear?
Don't raise your voice at my son. You're not his daddy.
I'm good enough to help raise him, just not good enough to correct him. You don't want a partner. You want help without authority. You don't talk to me like that. You hear?
Don't raise your voice at my son. You're not his.
Right in this case, am I saying that children should be disrespectful? Of course, I'm not saying that. Nobody is endorsing that. Nobody is saying that that's the good way to be. But since when, and I'm asking this, in a community, like, not to be funny, in the black community, where diabetes is high blood pressure is high, cancer is high, heart disease is high, malnutrition is high, since when acting like that toward a child is going to sit there and be well? How is the child going to understand what respect is if he or she is not being shown such? You understand? I realize in discussing this with people, no offense intended, that many people, no offense intended, is not Shalom Gen 22 knowledgeable of even what could and should discipline be. In the military, the way the drill sergeant, correct me if I'm using the wrong term for what I'm attempting to convey, when he speaks to you, he speaks down to you. I don't believe, to my knowledge, in the military, from those who I know that were in the Navy or the Army, that they actually sit there and lay hands on you. Parents have been known to lay hands on children. So there is a difference between the drill sergeant and an adult, and the adult signing on for that kind of, quote, basic training, and a child, certainly in that case, whose mother married a man and that man done went into a ready-made family. That's not how you raise children. That child is not going to say, I was yelled at and I learned. That's dark energy, if you will, right there. That's sadness, if you will, right there. Children, even in being disciplined, to use that term, know the distinction when it's love and when it's not. They're not stupid. But let's watch this again, family. Thank you.
You don't talk to me like that. You hear?
Don't raise your voice at my son. You're not his daddy.
I'm good enough to help raise him, just not good enough to correct him. You don't want a partner. You want help without authority.
We know that the man in there, his whole tone changed around an adult. He came with an explanation around an adult. How and why? Is it because he cannot talk to her like that as a couple? And people were saying, when I was talking about this with them online, was like, well, you can say what you want, but you got to have that tough love. That's not tough love. That is a grown man being in his feelings, knowing he can't talk to the lady like that, and transferring that anger, inner anger, frustration, or so forth and so on to the lady. If you notice very quickly, his whole demeanor changed. And if anybody that was shown in there that was disrespectful, it was her as well. Because she's not even going to sit there and say, sweetheart, let's talk on the side, and let her feelings and understandings be conveyed outside of the children's ears. She was there in front of her child checking a man. And he got humbled. He got checked. But he can sit there and be comfortable barking on, yelling at, getting loud, if you will, with a child. But he couldn't do that with the lady. He couldn't do that with the adult. So what I was trying to convey to people is that there's no way that if someone is disrespected, that yelling and making your voice become hoarse, losing your voice, damaging your pressure, maybe making your pressure, your blood pressure go high. All the people that was in the chat that I was in, they're not going to be there for you after they're telling you be frustrated and angry with a child. They're not going to give you a cash app of $1 or a dime in Zelle, in your PayPal, to sit there and say, you did what you had to do, and so forth and so on. So to the parents who asked if I have any children, yes. Have I barked and yelled at my princess? Yes. Did it help? No. Oh, you make me so angry. We may, in generalized terms, need parenting skills. I'm speaking in general. Again, you have a list of black entertainers that did not make it to the age of 60. Correct me if I'm wrong. Coolio, the entertainer. DMX, the entertainer. Fife Dog, the entertainer. Guru from Gangstar, the entertainer. And sad to say, a plethora of other black men whose health was not the best. And we think that raising our voice and yelling is beneficial. We think that raising our voice and running up our pressure and have to take whether you want to go herbalistic or prescription medicine for it, which you can't even mix the two, is the best way to go. That's foolishness. What is the solution with a child that is disrespectful? It's the same way as before. You talk to him or her. You teach him or her. When they disobey again, you take away privileges. They disobey again, you put the child on punishment, which also is mixed in with taking away the privileges. They disobey again. The Bible does not say spare the rod, spoil the child. Proverbs 13 doesn't say that. But we know nonetheless that it is true. So if you want to go to the angle, as some do, and spank your son or your daughter's butt, that's your decision. But those things as a solution does not hurt your health, does not sit there, in many cases, run up your blood pressure. It doesn't sit there, brothers and sisters, and make you, as stated, lose your voice. You're going to need your voice if you got to go to work to provide for your child. So the people who did not understand the distinction between being an emotional rant as a man, as shown in there, and being humbled by a woman, not to be sexist, by saying you want help without authority. That man in that kind of mode is fighting for power of authority. He knows that she does not respect his figure of authority. And if the child sees his mother not respecting that man, then he is not going to respect that man either. So know what you're stepping into when you get into matters. Peace.